Welcome to Stars Podcast. Through self-defense, mixed martial arts, nutrition, family, and all things in between, we share our journey of how we hack our mind and body to get the maximum return out of each day. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the journey. Yo guys, welcome back. This is Ron Jordan over at Stars Podcast.
Aaron Diaz.
Coming at you. Hey guys, so what's
How
new?
are you looking? Where am I at?
What's new?
Good?
Yeah, man. You're always looking good. How's the lighting? Feels bright.
It's pretty damn bright.
Yeah, feels bright. Mine's not bright enough. So, I'm watching the Bassmaster upstairs.
I just saw that.
Yeah. Dude, they were breaking it down of how to catch the biggest fish, and the guy made a point, which was the fish in the tributary that's coming in to Lake Ontario.
Okay.
The fish that live in that tributary.
I'm acting like I know what a tributary is.
It's the body of water that feeds into the
I like it.
Lake.
My man.
He was saying, the fish that live in that part, he goes, they're going to be skinnier than the ones that are just laying in the lake. Because the ones in the lake don't have to fight the current their whole lives. So they're averaging a half pound more per fish caught in the lake than in that tributary. And that's like how far they're breaking this thing down.
That's crazy. I mean, you think like if the fish have to go through that, they probably, if they're gonna take over little fish, that'd be where everybody's funneling through, right? It'd be like almost like a tactical mission.
Yeah, at the mouth probably.
Right.
Yeah, fish the mouth of it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like TAC missions, what you do is want to get a pinch point, and they got to go through there.
Yeah.
Hey.
And they're not intelligent.
No.
Fish aren't intelligent.
Hey.
Are they?
It's kind of funny. I think they are. I think they're pretty damn intelligent.
To figure all that out.
If you could see, because it was kind of funny. I was just talking about this. I went fishing probably. I went this weekend, but it's been like 20 years. And these damn fish was eating my worm straight off the hook and not hitting the hook. That's pretty damn smart, man. It's like, oh, it's a free meal. It's like a buffet. And I just laid it up for them.
Yeah, they're just nipping at it. They just nip at it. So, well, I mean, I've been after. I put war out on chipmunks this past 2 weeks.
You shooting them? Pellet gun?
Well, I trapped them first.
Sorry, PETA people.
Oh, no, listen to this. They were tearing up my garden. Everything that I planted new, they were eating all the roots.
Yeah.
Everything was dying. So I'm like, I got to get rid of these things. They're becoming an issue. So I went up to the hardware store and bought I think it was like a $35 trap. I trapped the first one within 12 hours.
A chipmunk.
Chipmunk.
You got nothing else? You got no moles or anything like that? So they're your problem right now.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm 7 down on the chipmunk scale. And I'm having no issues any longer. I am having 0 issues.
Oh, man.
And if anybody needs to know, it's 15 pumps, 1 shot, we're done. No flopping around. They're done.
They're dying? I mean,
yeah, shoot them with the pellet or the BB gun.
And they just flop around? Do you just
No, they don't flop
suffer?
around. They're done. Gonzo.
Right in the head.
15 pumps, 1 shot, done.
Bro, I'm glad you started shooting with us, huh?
I don't think I needed much training to do what I was doing. Right up to the edge of the cage. I mean, it's devastating. Listen, I'm not saying that it's an awesome situation, but it had to happen. It had to happen. Everything, honest to God, everything that I put in, new, they were eating.
Oh, that's not fun.
No, and then after I started trapping the chipmunks, then the deer decided that they were going to eat the tops off of every tulip.
You ain't shooting
or
a
not
deer
tulip,
with a pellet.
lilac.
You're not getting a pellet gun for a deer.
No, I'm not allowed to shoot those guns in the burrow. Not in the burrow. Aaron would have me arrested. Not you, Aaron. The Aaron that's the cop in Slippery Rock here.
Goodness. Aaron.
That comes to jiu-jitsu?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's state cop too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Shout out to Aaron.
What
He's
up?
a listener.
I like it.
Yeah, for sure.
We got some dedicated ones out there.
So
I'm trying to set up my little camera.
took
but
the
it's not working out.
took the super fight against a blue belt.
What?
Yeah. You didn't see my post?
Yeah, but I didn't think that was you.
Yeah. Yeah, I got on the I'm like probably the first fight on the card, the one that nobody
Whoa.
watches.
They're gonna watch.
But
I mean, the
but I'm-
listeners are gonna watch.
listen, I'm involved. That's what I care about.
Bro.
It's fun.
I tell you, if you guys don't know Mr. Ron Jordan, he goes head first, all in, like feet, elbows, like the guy just
Investigative journalism.
like.
Listen, so they do
You
this.
thinking about a book? You gonna do a book?
Maybe. Maybe I'll dictate. I just got done reading a book about a guy who wrote a story about himself.
Reading a book about a book.
Well, yeah, it was like a manuscript or a biography.
Mm-hmm.
And like like the way that the guy was coming across, he thought he was coming across as teaching his future generation exactly how to live,
Yeah.
and he was a dick. Like, he was a total jerk.
There's people that have been successful being dicks.
He was successful in the community. Like,
I got a great joke about
behind
dicks too, by the way.
Oh God! But behind closed doors, he was not awesome. He beat his wife and all types of stuff. But anyhow, I don't know where I was going with that. You said jumping in head first and all that.
Yeah, jumping in head first. We were talking about a book, and that guy, you thought he was trying to write a book about doing good things, and he was actually a piece of.
Yeah, he was a piece of garbage.
Yeah.
So we're training for this super fight,
Okay.
and one of the training pieces is this thing called a Shark Tank,
Okay.
where everybody in the gym gets around with you,
Hmm.
and you don't get any break
Right.
for like 25 to 30 minutes.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah. And I guess I just didn't know what I was getting into with that.
Yeah.
They said, "Come on Monday, we're gonna do Shark Tanks," and I'm like, "Okay, cool." So we do positionals.
Okay.
So you do takedown from side control, from back control, like from top half, from bottom. Well, no top half. I don't think. Yeah, we did a top half section and then bottom half,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to more or less just survive.
Yeah.
Try to submit. I did get a couple submissions last night. I went a little harder, or on Wednesday night. I went a little harder
Okay.
than I did on Monday. On Monday, I approached it like, you just survived today.
Right.
Okay, bud?
Yeah.
Like, you have no business doing this, first off.
Yeah.
And secondly, it's like, I don't know what type of effort it's going to take.
Yeah.
But I survived on Monday, so I came back on Wednesday. And on the drive up, I was thinking to myself, I said, listen, you gotta go for more. Like, if you want to do these fights, you have to be entertaining.
Yeah.
You can't just survive. You have to go for submission. You gotta leave yourself a little open. Yeah, you might get your guard pass, but in a sub only situation, like, who cares? As long as you can survive and get if you lose that battle of them getting past you, at least you can hopefully survive enough that you can regain your half guard and then get back to where you started.
Yeah.
And just being able to win those incremental battles is what I was really focusing on Wednesday.
Which is kind of, while you were saying
But
that,
it's so much more effort.
there has to be what's cool with you doing that, and you just did it at an exponential, time. You start to do training, you get a little comfortable, and then as you get comfortable, you say, okay, I can try this. But if you went all the way from, I'm just using Monday and Wednesday, for example.
Sure.
If you went all the way to Wednesday person, you would be demolished. Am I right?
Probably.
Yeah, because you're starting to do things that's going to make you prone to being submitted yourself, and you're not going to be smart about it. You're not going to know what you can and cannot do.
Yeah, and I'm also, at the same time, I'm also changing over my diet right now.
Okay.
So
to a protein or
just trying to lean out a little bit
Mm-hmm.
right now because I'm coming up on race week. I'm 6 weeks out. I need to start getting to that weight that I want to run at
Yeah.
and still be able to maintain the nutrition I need to by being lighter. Does that make sense? So like whenever I'm heavier, I don't have to worry about nutrition as much because like I got a bunch of fat storages.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But once I lean out, it's a little more difficult to manage the food intake
Okay.
because I don't have as many reserves. But I want to be lighter because I don't want to fatigue my muscles.
Yeah.
So train heavy, race lighter,
Oh yeah.
but maintain the nutrition. So
Now I know some races have like they go by weights. Like when I was doing races, I was 220.
mhm.
So that was like considered a Clydesdale, I think. So they had them
Yeah, I've
broken
never-
down that way.
I've never
Yeah.
done a race like that.
Yeah, it was like, of course, I didn't do it, but it would put you in a different class of, so you can actually,
This would be age and weight.
yeah. So you could do age and weight, and you can, of course, it'll make you look better. If I was going against other 220 pounders, and I was having a decent mile marker, I'd be all right. But when you're competing against,
Yeah, how many
somebody
miles you
that's-
put on those new shoes?
Not many.
Huh?
Not many.
How many
I didn't-
miles you put in
yeah,
on them shoes?
Yeah. What are you checking me right now?
Yeah, a little bit. Trying to see where your shoes are at.
My shoes have been in class. Like,
Well, didn't you go camping last weekend? Didn't you wear
Yeah.
them then?
no, I didn't wear them then because I have been using them for class, and I have another pair of Morels that I could wear out camping that I can use in the water and stuff like that. I just didn't want. I don't want to tear them down, but they're getting a really good feel right now. Like, and I would feel real
Got a layer
comfortable
of dust on them.
running with them. No, I'm in them every day. I'm in them every day.
I'm just giving you a hard
I'm
time.
doing a lot of kicks and punches and moving on them, so it's not like I'm not moving my body.
Yeah.
But man, I tell you, timing is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm also in school,
Mhm.
so I'm going through my certification for that, and it's like nonstop. Trying to fit the
You
family.
watch
in.
Hamilton yet on Disney?
No,
Yeah, we watched it. We're back into the.
I get 30 minutes of TV a day.
We're back to playing the soundtrack everywhere we go. I'm a big fan of the King and his songs. He's got 3 songs. He's hilarious.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
never saw
Chris-
one episode. Never seen the show.
Chris something. You never even listen to soundtrack?
No.
Oh my god, you don't like show tunes?
Like, what's a show tune? Like, Who's the
Um,
Boss or the Brady Bunch or
No,
What?
like a show, like a play, theater.
no,
You don't like going to live shows?
no.
You've never been?
It's not like at the forefront of my things to do.
Oh, it is. I have a blast going to those things.
My entertainment is just family outside.
Yeah,
I'm cool with it.
dude, the theater's a different animal, and I'll attribute most of my curiosity about theater in general
Mhm.
to Alyssa. First off, like she really enhanced this. But I had a class in college that I took as an elective
Yeah.
up here at the university, and it was a theater class, but not like acting theater. It was more
Yeah.
like
The breakdown.
the history and the breakdown of like the different parts of theater.
yeah.
So like the lighting, the costumes, the placement of the people,
The score.
whether or not it's a kind of like a black box stage where you have 360 view of everything, or if it's like just like you see typically, which is just the front of the theater.
mm-hmm.
So it was a neat class, and it always.
Am I in this?
I was
I'm
always
looking at
curious.
the shot. I mean,
What's that? Yeah,
I-
you're.
I feel like
into
I'm off center here.
No, you're actually right in the middle.
That's what I do.
Right in the middle.
Yeah, but no, I've never that entertainment factor in my life, whatever I can fit in, that's not it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like my wife, she used to go to concerts all the time, and
Mhm.
I'm like, that's not something that I would spend my money on,
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah, we went so far as we bought like season passes at the CLO when we lived down in Pittsburgh. We went constantly when we were down there.
That's the CLO. What's the CLO?
I don't know what it stands for. I don't know what it stands for, but more or less it's
So you've been doing this for a minute.
Oh yeah, we've been going ever since we've been together.
Nice.
Yeah, we took a trip out to Chicago so they could go see Hamilton live.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Not New York.
Not New York.
Okay.
We couldn't get the tickets in Chicago were like half the price, and they were even like, holy crap.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I got to drive there, and I got to pay for a hotel. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was
Merry
a great
Christmas,
experience.
happy birthday.
Yeah. Gotta love those.
We I caught a Northwestern University football game because Jake Cradle, he plays for the Panthers down in Pittsburgh, but he was heavily recruited out of high school, and one of the schools that recruited him was Northwestern University. So we got kind of the VIP treatment and got to go up there.
Nice.
It was neat. But yeah, we go to theater constantly. And now Hamilton is always playing on the radio.
Bro, I couldn't even tell you a daggone song. I mean,
yeah, you want to take my wife from a irritated bad day into her place and of happiness. Just start playing one of the show tunes of some show we've watched, and it immediately changes her vibe.
That's great. That's always good when you have something like me. I don't know. You try to take me out of a space. I don't know. Let's start sparring, or let's start moving around, moving the bodies or whatever. I really want to, and that's my entertainment. You know what I mean? Just doing something, try to learn things. We just had this talk last night about martial arts. I know we talked about it on the show before, but there's just so much respect. There's so much lineage, and just so much you can learn. Like I was telling them, I started Taekwondo at 38, and I'm an old man compared to the people that were there. And yeah, I'm in the back of the class as a white belt, and just it's humbling, but I enjoyed every minute of it. So that's what's
so you continue to seek those things out. What's a new thing that you've done that with, that you've been the new guy?
What?
What's something that you started recently that you've been the new guy?
Well, going back to school.
Yeah.
So going back to school, and this is new. I'm a Gen Xer, right? So going back to school online, that's it. I was a little sweaty about it. That's not something that I've done. And the millennials, the recent generations, that's cool. What are you talking about? We do that all the time. But for me, that's not how I grew up. That's not my learning style. That's not something, I've always been a hands-on guy. So now I have to have discipline, the motivation to open up a screen, start taking tests and reading and watching videos and doing it. So that's all new for me. That was me coming out of my box, and I don't teach like that. I don't learn like that. So I'm really pushing myself, and I'm stressing a little bit about it.
Are you?
Yeah.
So have you started the core responsibilities of the classes yet, or is it still?
Yeah, no.
New?
So the first part of it, I'm finishing up my exam. I didn't do as well as I did, so I get to go back into it. One of my exams are just the principles of building a business, talking about sales. It's great information. Of course, I've started businesses before and done sales before, but this kind of opened my eyes to a lot of good things. One of the biggest things I saw, it's about giving value. I talk about giving value. We talk about giving value, and it's a lot of it is the customer's experience, the relationship, and the result. That equals the value. And that resonated with me. I was like, man, I need to start doing this with everything that I do. So now I like it because it's starting to bleed into real world. Even when talking with my wife, the experience that we have with each other, the relationship that we have with each other, and the result out of a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You can use that with anything. It was so cool. It was like, wow, boom. You know, organizing. I'm horrible at it. I'm all over the place. And it is teaching me a little bit about organization and things like that. So as far as like getting into the nutrition value and anything like that, I haven't delved into that yet. I haven't cracked the textbook yet.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it's been 2 weeks. I mean, it's not, but
Yeah.
I
How
feel like-
long is the course itself? Not
it's
the
about
course,
a 12 week program. You have up to a year to do it,
Mhm.
but I want to do it in a good time,
Gotcha.
you know.
Gotcha. No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, and that's something that, you know, like you said, you like doing new things. It's always nice to hear what new things that, you know, we're doing.
Yeah.
For
It's
sure.
also forcing me to read more because unlike you, like you read books and I'm like, man, I'm kind of jealous about that. He got the time to read books,
Yeah.
you know, but
It's I'll tell you what, something that I was never good at was detail stuff.
mm-hmm.
I'm just not a detail guy. Well, that's what I kept saying. And it's like, the more you listen to all these motivational speakers and all the guys who are the business gurus, they're like, dude, like, yeah, you may have let's say 1 out of 10, it's a 3, but just because you have a 3 doesn't mean it can't be a 5.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So something that's helped me a little bit, but I'm still bad at details, is reading.
Hmm.
I will read something and I will actually comprehend what I'm reading.
Yeah.
Even if it's a long paragraph, I'm able to keep my train of thought through it now because I have been reading so much more. I just feel it was actually whenever I was getting my hair cut yesterday at the barber shop, they had this chalkboard and it said something about reading books and you can go anywhere, anytime.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, yeah, that's exactly what it is. You know, if you can,
Except for driving.
you can
Can't drive and
your,
read books.
What's that?
You can't drive and read a book.
No, but
But you can listen.
No, but what he's saying is, no matter where you're at, you can travel anywhere through a book.
Ah, I gotcha. So not literally.
No,
like,
not literally. It's just like through a book, you can go anywhere, anytime.
Yeah.
So it just it makes your mind more creative, I think,
Mm-hmm.
because you're constantly having to picture
Yeah.
what you're reading,
Yeah.
instead of having it given to you
Right.
through a movie.
Yeah.
You know, like they're telling you what to see versus your own imagination. It's just different.
So 20 years ago, you think you could have said that?
20 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like high school.
Oh,
Let's say
for
high
me?
school. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I just started
It's-
reading
it's-
within the last 5 years, like really reading.
It's funny because like I have a 16, 17, 18-year-old, and I can't have this conversation. Like what we are passionate about, you know, like you're saying, man, you can go into different worlds. You can learn so many different things. They're not trying to hear all that.
No. And that's the thing. I don't think, how do I even say this without like being demeaning, but I just don't think a lot of guys will read.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think
not
it's
demeaning.
manly.
That's freaking, no, it's not.
I just don't think
manly.
it's manly enough
Yeah.
for a lot of guys to get down with. And they won't get over themselves to read.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. I it's whatever, but I just don't like everybody who comments on my book stuff, they're women.
Wow.
The
Talk
only-
about statistics.
The only people who will comment or like those posts are women.
That's unfortunate.
It's real though.
But what is it? I mean, that would be a good. Hey, you know, you guys on YouTube, you can comment down below. I mean, if this is something that's why don't men read? You know,
Yeah, like I think I think if they do read, it's. I don't even know. I don't know. I guess I don't know where I was going with that part. Like maybe it's something to do with guy stuff, like a gun magazine or
oh yeah,
a martial arts magazine. Like it's still dude stuff.
mm-hmm.
And like That's fine. But like if you're going to try and connect with a broader audience of people, you need to have a broader audience or a broader diet of influence.
Yeah, but maybe that's it. Maybe they don't want a broader audience. Maybe they're so much into their own little circle, and they've created a circle with the people that they want. They want to get their information from Facebook.
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm not trying to like dog on anybody. I'm just
No, we're dogging.
no, definitely. Just
no,
genuinely,
I'm dogging.
Definitely.
I'm dogging. I mean, seriously, we need to open up our minds and start to see some true things.
Yeah, I think because a lot of people are struggling with being able to create their own thought process. It's been given to us.
So one of the things of course, I'm a big TikToker, right? But my algorithm is pretty good. Like I don't have like a bunch of trash too much. Sometimes things sneak in, but it was talking about Gen Xers, right? And how we were born out of baby boomers. We've gone through 4 different decades of change. You know, we've seen so much, and we have to learn to be adaptable to every single portion of that change. So, do you think the generation that was after us, the millennials or the ones that are coming up now, you know, the 16, 17, 18, like, what is their niche? You know, like, where are they at? Do they get that instant gratification of just garbage as opposed to trying to go out and try to find it? You know, and that could be the man I mean, like, it's not cool to have testosterone anymore. It's not cool to be screamed at. It's not cool to, you know, like.
I think that pendulum's swinging back the other way.
You think so?
I do think that pendulum.
I mean, remember the trophies for everybody was just a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think that I tend to agree with you that it is going the other way. And I think people were starting to realize the pussification.
I feel like there's almost a drastic hardening right now.
Yeah.
Of a lot of things. Like the what do you say? Like because there's so much angst amongst people.
There's angst
that there almost feels like a hardening. Like because nobody's talking about that right now.
Nobody's talking about
like trophies for everybody and the pussification of things, and I don't hear it.
What I'm liking. So I don't know, since I just became a recreational person, right? My pop-up, man, bro, campsites, booked up. People are outside, camping, tents. You go to Walmart, there's people waiting for things like propane stoves for the outdoors. That is awesome. Mm-hmm. I think that's cool. People, for one, this pause, I know we talked about this before, this COVID pause has put people inside, and people are just like, oh, no, I can't do this anymore. I got to get outside and do something. And you forced families back together. But you've also hampered a lot of families, but you've forced families to, you know, be trapped together with each other. And it's either you make or you break it.
Yeah, that's what a lot of the baseball players that are coming back, they were saying that it's like we've never been able to be home with our families during the summer. So to be able to be home during the summer has been amazing.
Yeah.
You know, all these guys with new babies or even just kids in general.
Yeah.
You know, to be home with your family now.
Being fathers.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
I love running my daughter around everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't care where we got to go. I love it. Like I love that. I don't know, that overcompensation almost because you're not around a lot of the other times.
And then you take the time you do have. It's precious, man.
It feels good.
It's precious. But unfortunately, there's a flip side to this, and I hate to change a feel good story to back to the angst, and maybe I'm doing exactly what the media is doing, but there's people out there that are continue to be victimized. Domestic violence is shot up. I mean, sexual abuse is shot up. Like it's horrible because these kids have nothing to run to. They don't have anything else but the poison that they have in their household. And that's a tough one, man. That's a hard pill to swallow because I'm all about no one's victim.
I'd be interested to hear what a social worker has to say about that. How things have changed in that world, if at all. Because when I was doing home visits, it was like nobody was working anyhow.
Right.
So I feel like a lot of those communities would likely be similarly situated regardless.
So you think there's no change at all?
I'd be interested to know. I'm not saying no change at all.
Yeah.
But I know, like, from a class standpoint, and as far as, those areas that we're talking about are predominantly poorer neighborhoods. It's just they're poorer because there's no jobs there. There's no income, So what changes in that?
What changes in the household?
Yeah.
Because everybody's been there the entire time is where you're at.
In those poor.
Well,
I don't know.
Think about the ones that were going to school. Think about the kids that were going to school. Now they don't have that social interaction. Now they don't have anybody else but their parents to listen to. If
as far as influences go,
right,
for sure.
Right.
Yeah. No, I got you now.
And it's really sad. Like there is one young lady that I know. Her daughter has verbally gone backwards because of the lack of social interaction. The vocabulary is starting to diminish, and because she doesn't have peers to talk with, to have conversations about, let's say, Barbies, let's say toys, or your mom making spaghetti.
Interesting.
And that was hard to see.
Yeah,
that was hard to see.
Where did you see that at?
No, I know it. I know it personally.
Yeah. So they went backwards.
Yeah.
Like they just started speaking less.
Right. Started speaking less. Started to get it into herself, and it's unfortunate.
And they're directly linking that to not being around other people.
Right.
Who's linking that?
The parents.
Oh, the parents are. Okay.
So if you think about when kids talk, let's say, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids, when they talk, they get imaginations run wild. They say crazy things. My daughter says some crazy things about how the cat told her what to do. And, like it's just things, their mind are always flowing. And especially when you have other vivid imaginations from other children of their like minds, their like mentality, it's cool. You're like, man, what are you listening to? Like, what are you guys talking about? Like that didn't happen, like it's really, really funny to see the interaction.
Then how do kids in homeschool have higher vocabularies?
Well, they're also a little more socially awkward. So, and socially naive. Now, this is like lumping everybody into, and I don't want to be that every one of the homeschool kids are socially awkward, but I bet you I can go to a room and you could sprinkle homeschool kids and I can point every single one of them out.
No way.
Yep.
I don't know how you'd be able to do that. I know a ton of homeschool kids that there's no way you'd be able to do that.
I could do it.
I find that highly improbable.
Hey, I'm pretty intuitive.
I'll give you that. I don't argue that part.
Yeah, no, but
I think you'd be hard pressed to do it. But
so
and I think let's
say 70%. I'll be 70% right if I had to put a number on it.
What's going to happen in 6 months whenever everybody is homeschooled?
That's what it's going to be.
because that's what a lot of schools are doing.
Yeah.
Isn't Grove City or who my wife and I were just talking about this. They're going back to school virtually real time. So 9 o'clock, you have biology. You're going to log in. You'll be in your biology class.
Yeah. Gosh, I hate that. I'm not digging that.
You're doing it.
I know. And I don't like it. But I'm doing it out of convenience.
I think this is the future. Like, this is it.
We're going to have a lot of socially awkward children.
Nah, I disagree with you on that.
That's cool.
Because you can create those soft skills.
You can't. That's just like you can't teach your wife how to shoot. Right? Let's say you're an instructor.
Following.
Okay. So something me and Chris we do all the time. There is no way. No, there is a way, but to proficiency, I have to train his wife how to shoot, and he has to train my wife how to shoot, just because of the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it is. You got your parents.
Well, no, your parents aren't teaching you.
No.
These
but,
classes.
But I'm talking about being in the same space. You're only going to be bleeding off of the people that you're around, right? And if all you had is your parents.
But okay, so let me go to this.
Go ahead.
You have all of these guru influencers you've never rubbed elbows with.
Oh, you talking about like my the podcast and experience?
Yeah,
that's
like
what we're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, like all this virtual stuff that you digest.
Yes,
it influences your life.
this is true. But
So
then
you're arguing against.
no, because then I get to use it in life experiences with other people. So I can pick and choose what I want. This is going to work. This doesn't work. I like this. I don't like this. I like 70% of Gary Vee stuff. I like 80% of ET Hip Hopper stuff. But it's not 100%. Now, how do I know that? Is when I start to experience it with other people to see what works, to kind of fit it to me.
Mm-hmm. Do you talk to people on the phone and use the strategies?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
but you can video conference with people too and use those skills. Don't influencers do that on
Yeah.
a daily basis?
Yeah, but how many times do influencers go to do seminars or
I don't disagree
or
with you
team
that it
building
enhances it.
exercises? Right.
I don't disagree
and that's
with that.
all it is. So if you're only getting one
I'm
aspect of it,
I know. And you Gen Xers, this is what you do. So the virtual world is a real world. Like, you have real interactions with people. And this is a learning experience for those who grew up in a world where you never had this.
this is true. I was before internet.
Right. You grew up in a world where the only way to practice your skills was face to face. That's not it anymore. You don't, and I feel like you can take away just as much. I'm not saying that I want the world to be virtual.
Right.
All I'm saying is I think that the skills that you learn in a virtual world are just as valuable as the skills that you would learn in a classroom.
I can't. Well, but you're right. It's because of how I grew up.
It's exactly why.
You know, and
that's, yeah, go ahead.
But like, think about people in the Great Depression. You know, they probably still think and that hide money in a hole, or, you know, eat certain things.
I'm sure. Yeah,
because
sure.
yeah, and that's each generation. Baby boomers are a certain type of people.
But where we come into an issue for me is when you start making policy and procedure based on old news.
Because it worked.
Understood. So if you can do what worked and make it into a virtual world, which we've done.
What about like virtual camping? What about virtual
that's ridiculous.
kayaking? No, but I mean, if you're making it a sole virtual society.
No, I'm not. That's not what I'm doing.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
You're just talking about the learning process.
The learning process.
The education.
And the like.
Why stop there?
Things that don't have to be. Like, maybe you could have a robot in a kayak and then go ahead and virtually go ahead and plug into it. Like, That's what it's going to be for sporting events.
Wow.
They're already doing it for concerts where you're going to be able to virtually, if you're at the concert, you can actually be anywhere from a camera angle and watch it. So, like, it's already happening.
I wouldn't pay for that.
You'd be surprised what people will pay for.
I know.
But, I just think that the argument that everybody's making, the big stink, is like, oh, you have to be in school. Well, you know what? Those teachers are at risk. Well,
because
then you're putting all the teachers.
But this is the thing.
You're putting the teachers behind.
It's proven. The psychology is there.
Okay, I get that. But if you can do it just as effectively, let's not even say as effectively. Let's just say almost as effectively. If we can do it almost as effectively online and be able to protect teachers until whatever is figured out about the pandemic that's going on, then we can go back to school and be in person. But until then, how is that fair for our teachers to have to do that?
Well, the same way it's not fair for essential workers to have to go to work. I mean, we still have to maintain lives. We still have to do things for our family. If you're
putting profits before health.
Profits for schools?
No, you're putting like all these essential workers, and I'm making an argument. I'm not saying I'm like behind this horse 152%.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to jog people, I'm just trying to jog people's minds in this way, which is, when you're making a decision, why are you ultimately making that decision? So we're making a decision to go back to school because why? We're making a decision to continue to make plastic chairs for the backyards as an essential worker because why? And they're very macro philosophical questions that our elected officials have to mull over. Well, and those are the types of decisions these men and women have to make on a daily basis.
I get it.
And
but decisions are made,
and the population just isn't happy no matter what.
So on a percentage that's so minuscule. That's what I don't like. Drastic decisions are being made for the probabilities that are super small. Let's say texting and driving kills, 10,000 people a year. I mean, we're not making anything to shut phones down, or we're not doing
while you're in the car.
It's the percentage is, there's so much worse things that could be attended to with this great magnitude, and I don't think that 0.01% should be so like macro to make these type of decisions. I don't think that I don't think the probability should be there. More people die of the flu, and you check 2020's cases right now. How many people died of the flu? 0, because they've lumped those. 40,000 people die a year, but they've lumped all those numbers together. So we got the flu and COVID and whatever else is going on all lumped into one number. It's going to look a lot more drastic. I don't think that these type of decisions of going to school, not going to school, I mean, should be done at this time.
So your stance is everything should just be.
I'm a big proponent of the herd immunity.
So you're the Gen Xer version of this.
Yeah, I guess.
It's funny though. Like there are distinct views on this based on generation, based on Democrat, Republican. Like it's very.
Yeah, and that's not. It's unfortunate because some people see it as a political movement, and I don't like it as a political movement. But one stance is different from the other, which. I mean, now people are starting to become a little more center focused.
Is it? I don't know. I guess based on the numbers, people are upset about it and the survivability rate and all of that. Well, I'm not going to solve that today. Say that. But it's an interesting. There's there's something to be said about that. Thinking about it from, and this is how I try to understand things that are going on, is I look at it from, like, I have friends like yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're older than I am.
Right.
And you come from a different background than I do. So you're seeing it through a different lens.
True.
And I try and listen to what you're saying and understand where that is.
Yeah.
And try to understand why.
And
why you would think that way.
And you know what's funny? And that's why this podcast is good.
Mm-hmm.
Because instead of me shutting the computer down, like, oh, it's either my way or no way.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there's people that are real sticklers about.
Well, most people wouldn't sit like this, you and
No
I,
way.
and talk about it. They
There's
slam
been
the
family members that cut me off
Mhm.
because of the way I think.
Yeah, and it's very unfortunate because that once you start shutting people down and not giving yourself other influences, that's when you become very narrow-minded.
Yeah.
And that's an
And
unfortunate.
that's how things don't come to fruition.
But that's also what, like, every politician hopes to God happens. So
Right. It's either my way or no way.
Well-
and if my way wins, then we won.
then they can isolate
Yeah.
groups of people into
Right.
believing, whatever. Population control 101.
Yeah.
So that's
Divide and conquer.
it's so interesting.
Oh,
Have you ever read any of the books by, like, the Soviet Union?
like doomsday books?
Not doomsday, but
Marxist books?
I don't know if they're Marxist books, but just books that are kind of about population control and
Yeah, no.
I've never read
and
any either, but I know they're out there.
I hate to say, well, this is exactly, because all we do is get spoon-fed things that are going to be in the right person's corner. So, this is exactly what Germany did. They came in, they took our guns, and they made a police state. And, a small percentage of people. Like, there are people that I know that are in my circle that are like, hey, I'm just waiting for the call that one of these military posts are like, hey, we're shutting the doors. Everybody who's like us, come on in.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, it's freaking, this is like a movie set. Back to the freaking game, to the Game Changers, man. That's
the fact of that. The one thing that I saw in front of one of the monuments, because there was a threat against one of the monuments in Washington, D.C., and they put a huge security detail around that thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, listen, you can protest all you want, but not on this property, which is also interesting because I would assume it's public property in a, like, where they were at, but
Unless it's federal
I
property.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. So whenever it's federal property at those monuments, I wonder if
D.C. is federal property. I mean, it's not a state. It's
True.
District of Columbia.
Yeah.
That's your capital.
Mm-hmm.
It's
But that was I saw that today. Actually, somebody posted it, and I was like, "Dang, that's neat." I haven't looked into it, like, to see where it was at, but I did see it was a massive security detail around it.
yeah,
Masks, the whole thing. And then the guy, what have you heard anything more about the guys who were running around without any identification uniforms and picking people up?
in Portland.
Yeah, did you see that?
Yeah, well, they were
What was
going
that?
into unmarked vehicles.
Yeah.
But the unmarked vehicles had government plates. I mean, it's just, that's the federal government. I mean, they were trying to get into a federal building. They were smashing windows. They were trying to break into a federal building. So that's federal property. I mean, I was a Fed cop. It is what it is.
So why didn't they have any markings on them? I'm curious. From a law enforcement background, is that typical? Does it matter?
It could be, or that. Hey, that's
Do you
what
have
it was.
to have
At
anything on you?
No, that was maybe the vehicle that was assigned at that time. When we drove the Greenspan around, I mean, we didn't have a lot of markings.
Yeah.
You draw attention to yourself. Think about the police cars that were out there that did have markings. What happened?
Mm-hmm.
They got set ablaze, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, so now I'm trying to get a tactical advantage and be able to intermingle. Why do you have undercover cops? You know, there's ways to interact with the population and not draw attention to yourself, because it's not a good time to be a cop right now. You know, I don't have to tell you anything. If you're breaking the law, then I'm a law enforcement officer. I'm going to stop you. You know, you're going to shut me down because I'm not wearing such and such? Nah, man. Because I'm in a vehicle that's such and such? No.
If there was a thing, or like you had to have markings on your body.
Yeah.
It's
nah. As far as, I mean, they were in uniform.
Mm-hmm. I think that's what freaks people out, though, is the military state.
Oh,
doesn't it? It freaks me out a little bit.
Don't freak me out.
You wouldn't care if there were armed guards everywhere?
No.
Really?
You ever been to a different country? You ever been to Mexico?
No.
Okay. Mexico, they got freaking 50 cals on corners, man.
That's a good thing?
You can go to, they're called tourist police. They're there to protect you.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
like,
no, I was cool with it. You know, like I've been to other countries. I've been to where there were military states. I've been to, that doesn't bother me.
Okay.
If I'm doing wrong, it bothers me. If I'm not doing wrong, it's not bothering me.
Okay.
You know, if I'm out there protesting and people say, oh, the peaceful protest, when you start throwing freaking frozen bottles and, you know, things at police, that is no longer a peaceful protest.
Sure.
You know, not doing what you're told, not staying in your assigned spots, because you do have the right in the Constitution, a peaceful protest. It says that.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What, if they're protesting, it has to be a peaceful protest. I mean, that's written in the rule. When you could protest all you want, but you have to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
Get your point across, but don't throw bottles. I mean, these people have families too.
So I was thinking about this as well, and about the formality versus informality of getting change done.
Yeah.
Like, to get change taken care of in the United States of America through legislation, it's a very formal process.
Yeah.
So being able to explain to people that it's a formal process and it takes time to make change, it's like totally against everything that we're about in America now, because everything is one click ship, microwaved, overnight delivery.
Yeah.
Like, everything is so immediate.
People don't understand it as a process.
And now people want the government to react the same way, and it's never going to happen.
And they also think it's only one person that makes decisions.
Yeah, that's the insane part.
That's not how it works, man.
Yeah. The fact that you would even begin to try to imagine the boulder to move in order to do what anybody has ever done to make a change in the government is like unfathomable for most people, I think.
So put it this. So let's take it smaller. Let's say, how do you make a change in your home? Let's say it's you, your wife, your children. How do you make a change inside your home? Right? You got to start small. I can't make a change in your home, your neighbor's home, and all that. I can't do that. So my point of saying all this is, let's look at ourselves and see what our community could do. Let's see where we can change first so that we can change others. Let's say, okay, my house is different. Ron and I's house are different. Chris's house is different. Tom, now we create a community. Now this community can help. Hey, look, this is another way we can do that. Our community have made it, our little nucleus have made it that the cops don't have to come into our house and help or do anything or try to police us. You know, you have to make a change within to look all the way up to the president and say, hey, let's make a change. No, make a change right where you're at.
Oh, I like that.
Make a change in your community. Make a change in you personally. Okay? And then we'll make an educated change. Don't look at me like, oh, he's just bothering me because of me. No. I need to make that change. I need to do something different. I need to go out and work and then change it from within.
Yeah, that self-leadership principle.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to. How can I help people defend themselves? I create a class. I create a community. I bring them in. Now they're no longer victims. Now,
So what do you think makes a good community?
I don't know.
Like, why are some communities just better than others?
Yeah. Why are some communities better than others?
Yeah, like the values of certain communities are, I don't know.
For one, it doesn't happen overnight.
Yeah, how does the breakdown of a community happen?
Well, I know in the community I grew up in, which was, in Spanish Harlem, in the projects. Do you know how many fatherless communities, how many fatherless homes?
Oh, let me ask you this. I actually wanted to ask you this about this, and I've been forgetting to.
Go ahead.
And I don't know how much exposure you would have to this, or
Okay.
even knowledge of it. But are there actual places where women are given room and board, but men are not allowed in there,
This is true.
and they can have their kids with them, but not an actual male figure?
Yeah.
That's real?
Yeah. Oh, now what are we talking? Are we talking about battered women shelters? Or are we just talking
So
about
they label-
communities as a whole?
Now listen, they label them as battered women's shelters.
Okay.
But there is speculation that it's to remove the male figure from those houses, from those homes,
Yeah. I don't know
as more of a class attack on the poor class.
So you think it's all put together to create fatherless homes?
Yes.
I don't know. It could be.
Yeah, I didn't know if you would ever mulled that over, if it was ever like brought up in discussions.
No.
But I know that was something that I read. Where was that?
So what population would that hit? It would
Just
hit
the poor population.
Yeah, poor population, people of color.
Just poor people.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think, and that's something that I've always wanted to do. When I was growing up, I vowed that I would never allow myself to not be involved in my children's lives.
Yeah.
And there's great statistics on how many people that don't have fathers are ending up in prison, that are not getting their lower income, their socioeconomic class is not as high.
Yeah, ladies. So if you got a good one, keep them.
Yeah. or
You might have some bad habits, but he's paying the bills.
it's a struggle. Or even if for some reason you pick the wrong relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And now, not to say if you're getting beaten, or if you're, and we're not talking about that. We're talking about, hey, we didn't work. Our relationship didn't work.
Yeah.
Don't cut him out. And this will, you know what else? Child support, the freaking racket, and how that pushes fathers away, and how that creates angst.
Yeah, I know. It's a hefty bill.
It's
We
it's
actually-
asinine.
we
It is not
actually-
even. I mean, there is also a protest on August 17th, I believe, about they need to reform child support. It's always been against the male, always. Divorce always been against the male. So you right now are creating an angst between a mother and a father. Like they have children to
As soon
raise.
as you put money in the middle,
It's done.
it's tough.
It's done.
But like, some people will say it's not enough. Other people will say it's too much. It's like, I know what we were seeing, and I was just like, this is ridiculous. There's no reason for us to be getting this type of money for a child.
Well,
It was insane. So we actually made a recommendation with the court to like just cut it.
although it's because you're good people. So you have people be like, yeah, I got him, because
And
I
yeah.
hate that man, because I want him to suffer and he can't succeed. There, you know how many people have killed themselves through child support?
Well, I couldn't imagine.
You know how many people who freaking
I know whenever-
shootings. I mean, and it's horrible. It's really tore down people. So you can maintain an established house, 4-bedroom home, where this man is living out of his car because he has to pay for child support.
Well, why didn't he keep his in his pants?
It doesn't have to be just that.
I'm just saying.
But no,
Sometimes it's like, hey,
if the relationship is to dissolve, then it's what it is. The things about child support that I don't think a lot of people know. For one, none of that money that they receive is counted as income. Okay? None of that money they receive is counted as income. It don't have to be, nothing's tracked. It doesn't involve birthdays, vacations, holidays. They can have different lifestyles from when they stay at home with one parent. The other parent cannot have the same lifestyle. So now you're looking at, well, I don't want to go to dad's because he's living in a box. I want to stay here where I have my own place and my own home, and I got dirt bikes, I got freaking cars, I got vacations that we're going on, and I only can take you to McDonald's because I have nothing else for you. I'm in an apartment that my stove doesn't work, and I have to do everything in an electric toaster oven. You have to sleep. I have to sleep on an air mattress because my kids are sleeping in my bed. I have dirty, flea-infested furniture because that's what came with the apartment. And that's what really happens. They count. Let's say you wanted to do better and get a better position, and now you get a better position. You make a little more money because you want to get out of a hole. Now that new money gets included, and now she gets more or he gets more. But nothing. I could only spend $20 on Christmas presents for each one of my kids, and they get a house load of Christmas presents on another side. It starts to create a wedge in between the parents. And these are true stories. These are, you have a person that maybe might have a great insurance, but you have to prove it to domestic relations that your insurance is better than the mom's. Well, why do we need to disturb the insurance they already have? Then when that bad insurance has overages, guess who has to pay the overages? The other parent. If that other parent can't afford those overages, they have the possibility of making that civil case into a criminal case. Now I have to do 30 days in jail because I'm refusing to pay for my overages.
Why do you have to pay for the overages?
That's just how it works. Because that's that's the insurance that they have. I have to maintain that lifestyle for that child. So now you go to court. Say, hey, look, judge, I can't pay for this. Well, you have 30 days to get the money to pay for it. And you're going to pay for her attorney because it's your fault that she's in court today. I can't afford my own attorney. I'm sitting here with holy pants, no tie, no nothing. But now I have to pay for her attorney because I created this monster. It's scary, man. It's scary. It's not cool, and it needs to be looked at. It needs to be looked at. The reform is has to be done. It's an archaic system from the 60s. Nothing's ever changed. Let's say you go and you start a new life with a new family, and you have 2 more children, of a happy home. You're the sole provider for your wife and your 2 children. Do you think those children are attributed to the how much I have to pay in child support? No. Doesn't. So now my children that I try to maintain have to live a lesser lifestyle. And I have to be taken away because of a relationship I had 10 years ago. Whose fault is that? People grow up. People make mistakes in a relationship maybe they shouldn't have been in. And then now they have to pay for it for somebody else. My kids from 10 years ago have to pay for my mistakes that from way before they were even thought about.
Yeah, that's a.
I'm running for office.
Yeah. So it seems like that the system in general is from a generation where maybe, it was more of a one income household that the policy was based off of.
Oh, absolutely.
So it does stand for a little reform in that respect. Taking into consideration that both parents usually work and there's a lot of shared expenses.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard.
But then you bring up another point where it's not that money's not tracked, but how much do you want? How much do you want that to be tracked?
Well, they have the control to come and take it.
No, what I'm asking though is why you wouldn't want them to be every single penny has to go you put it on a card and only certain things are accepted?
Well, if you get welfare, there are certain things that you can't buy.
Right. So that's where I'm getting at. Now you've brought the government you brought them even further into your life.
Well, because then it would keep some accountability.
Well, it's self-leadership. Mm-hmm. Back to that.
Yeah.
More if we got more self-leadership and more people to just talk like you're talking in terms of, hey, we made a mistake. Let's figure this out on our own. Mm-hmm. Let's just stay out of the courts. Because, that happens too.
Yeah.
I have that arrangement right now.
Yeah.
It's listen, yes, we're not together. Yes, we have a child.
Right.
But hey.
Right. Clearer heads think, and
yeah,
he'd be like, hey, you know what? Because I have a relationship like that where I'd be like, hey, you know what? Baseball is coming up. All right, I got him. I'm going to go get him new cleats. I'm going to go get him a new bat. I'm going to go, he wants a new fishing pole. Boom, I'm there. And that's cool.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
And I think those relationships are better for the child too.
Absolutely.
Because you are able to, shoot, we have family dinner night on Sundays.
How cool is that?
Where we all just get together.
Yeah. This is new age. Now, this is millennial stuff talking.
It is. It is.
Yeah, no, I like it.
But it's like everybody can get down.
Right.
It's way more, it's just less formal.
Now you got 4 people raising one child as opposed to one person raising one child.
Right. And they see that yes, we can make mistakes, but still bounce back from them.
Absolutely.
And still have those people in our lives. And I think as a relationship, I've messed up things. I've said things that I shouldn't have, or I've done things I shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. But it's you just don't give up.
Right.
You don't give up on that relationship.
Yeah.
Because you want it to work.
Right.
And it's hard work.
Yes.
It's hard work to have friendships. It's hard work to have relationships. It's hard work to have a wife or a husband. It's very difficult.
Anything good is working hard
Oh,
100%.
But just like you said, your son, 16 years old, 17 years old, they're not thinking about that stuff.
Yeah.
They're just not.
Yeah.
We didn't.
Right.
And it's I was reading that book that I was talking about, This Much I Know. This Much I Know is True. And at the end of the book, one of the things that the he calls her the shrink, the therapist, is saying to him is, some in ancient Greeks and Eskimos, the kids who didn't have fathers would have to go out on quests to figure out who their father was. But whenever they would go on these quests and they would survive and conquer the wilderness and come back, they didn't even need to know because they were self-sufficient. They figured it out. But you have to go through something like that in your life to have the rest of your life.
Yeah.
But a lot of times us guys, we get caught up in that 18 to 26, and those years of our lives are very strange.
Oh yeah.
Because
it can be real ugly.
You're an adult, but you're not an adult. But the law treats you as one. Even though you're really just gaining some life experience as far as like earning money and stuff like that because you're out of high school. Now granted, there are definitely cases where you're out of high school and learning life experiences earlier than that.
Yeah.
But just for the majority of the population, like that 18 to 26, it's almost like if you can get past those years,
yeah, you're going to be all right.
27 on, you're just different.
Some law enforcement agencies won't talk to you till you're 27.
You're just different.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
There's a lot of stuff that happens in those that group of years.
A lot of mistakes.
Which brings me to
and good.
Yeah, absolutely. Mistakes, good, all of it. But like that's where we lose a lot of our good ones.
Yeah.
As guys. Like we need to be able to reach out to those guys and identify them. Almost like you can identify people that are homeschooled.
Right.
Identify those guys.
Hey, it's a thing, Ron.
But
they look different.
and like just try and be some sort of support for those guys because it's freaking tough. You're trying to be successful. You're trying to have relationships. There's a lot of weight in your shoulders to either graduate college or get this job. A
lot of outside
and
influences.
All the while, you're supposed to also be party hard with your friends because your boys are out. But then you got to get the girl as well, or else you're, all these things to make you feel like a loser. Or at the top of the world. There's a lot of pressure to make shit happen in those years. And I'm here to tell you, like, nothing needs to happen in those years, and you'll still be fine.
Heck yeah.
You will be fine if absolutely, like, you don't graduate college, you don't get the best job, you're still single at 28, whatever. You still have likely 50 more years.
Oh, easily.
And you have so much more now to make better decisions, just like in business. If you stick with the business for 5 years, let's say, you stick with the business for 5 years, what took you that 5 years will take you 2 months after that 5 years.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it starts to exponentially grow at some point.
Right.
That's the same thing that happens with relationships and in your life. It's like if you just stick with it, things will start to exponentially grow.
Hang on.
And I give a lot of credit to the guys who can continue not in the same career, but in the same field for so long. Because you become an industry expert.
Yeah.
And you start to be rewarded for that. And it goes back to the being able to be patient. And just wait the course out. It's not a microwave society. You're not going to get rich quick. Calm down. It will happen. Just continue to do the right things and move down that path consistently.
It would be interesting to see that 18 to 26 that you're talking about. I think it's actually might be a little more in regards to this topic, but incarceration. How many people actually get in trouble with the law during that 18 to 26?
I'd say 90% of rap sheets are done in those years.
Oh, yeah.
At least.
Yep.
At least 90% of the stuff that you do wrong.
What you do after that.
Yeah.
And I've seen it. Now I got people that are 55 still incarcerated because of the choices that were made, during those time frames.
Yeah, you would know. I mean, these guys on a intimate basis.
Yep.
You but you work with them every single day.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure it was a trip up early on.
Yeah. And then it's either like I heard a guy say, he said, a man's only going to change when a significant event in their life happens.
Mm-hmm.
What is that going to be? What is that significant life-changing event?
Yeah.
What is that? Is it the birth of your child? Is it a horrible relationship? Is it selling drugs? Is it when you come into incarceration, regardless, I mean, some people look at it as a rite of passage, a badge, man. It was funny because I was looking at the generation of rappers, right? The 80s, it was all, don't do drugs, right? Mm-hmm. The 90s, it was like, oh, I got to do drugs because I got to take care of my family, right?
Yeah.
The 2000 was like, oh, I'm doing drugs because it's cool and I'm getting a lot of money from it. And then now it's I do drugs all the time. Now it's not I'm idolizing, freaking drug dealers. Now where I'm idolizing drug users. I'm doing Molly. I'm doing lean. I can't come down for 72 hours. Like this, it's crazy. This generation is bonkers, man. I don't know. That population, it's in a weird spot.
Well, think about it from what I was even saying in the virtual world is being high is a virtual world.
Yeah.
If you think about it, like just in terms of being detached from reality, same thing.
Yeah. Goodness. Whoa, we went all over the place today.
Dude, we took 2 weeks off.
We had a lot of stuff pent up.
Had a lot of stuff on my mind. Listen, I try to talk to a lot of people, but not very many people I can talk to like I talk to you, man.
Yeah.
So, like, missed you.
Yeah, missed you too.
Missed you for sure. And
I was excited to come on, man.
That's the thing about this is, like, you want to hear like, we really differ on a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
And through that lens, though, and doing this back and forth has given me a different opportunity to check myself as well. Because I'm like, because I respect you.
Oh, thanks.
So, like, if you're coming at it, you're a thoughtful guy. So you've thought about something.
Yeah.
When you have a stance on it, like, you thought about it.
Right.
So I'm like, man, well, where's that coming from?
Mm-hmm.
And can I get down with some of that?
Yeah.
So I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you. This is a
and
great platform.
appreciate all of you guys out there listening. Thank you for sticking with us. If you stuck around this long, love you.
All right. Click subscribe, share it.
Yeah, that's the only thing that we ask of you guys. We don't charge anything for this, so the fee really is, if you got anything out of this, just share it with somebody. You know where we're at on Instagram, on Facebook as well. We're everywhere you download podcasts. So let people know what you're listening to out there. If you did like it, if you did not like it, that's fine too. Leave us a review either way. Happy to make some changes. We're always open to that.
Yeah.
Until then, enjoy the journey.
Deuces. So the journey has begun. If you guys listening to our content today had any kind of value or you were moved in any way, please feel free to subscribe, pass it on, let everybody know that these two guys are the truth. They're out here just trying to do good things to make good people.